Welcome DRUID enjoyers, we have new patch with that new talents, new changes, and also with that new gameplay, because we have new things to do, well, new mechanics. So let's go straight to it. Let's talk about the stats. So from stats, you are pumping haste, you are DRUID, nothing new there. Haste is what we love, because we're using a lot of abilities, we really want to use a lot of abilities. And also most of our abilities is healing over time. And what is haste doing with healing over time effects or abilities? It's improving them. So if you have more haste, healing over time effect is healing more. So that's why it's so important. Second stat is mastery. Why? Because mastery apart from haste, but sadly we cannot have only haste. Maybe we will have only haste in that case. So we have mastery to complement that. That is greatly increasing our healing. Usually we take before it, we take mastery only for raid, but not anymore. It's not because mastery was always better for dungeon, because you have less targets, so you apply more healing over time effects. But in a raid you didn't focus on doing some damage or something like that, and in dungeon you had enough healing. We no longer feel like we have enough healing, that means versatility is going to the back, and with that mastery is going forward. So pump haste 20,000, can go even higher, mastery at least is 10,000, and of course better gear. I still just gearing my druid, so the stats will go higher than this. And then like third one is Versa, but it's very low priority. It's big gap between haste and mastery, and then it's massive gap between haste, mastery and other two stats. And the crit, if you can have 0 crit, just go for it. In case you feel very comfortable that you are healing enough in the dungeons, then start switching mastery into versatility. But we heal enough, we just don't heal fast enough. So yeah, mastery is a great addition to your healing. Alright, let's go for talents. So before I start, a little note about this build. If somebody showed me these talents and play this is good for the dungeon, I was thinking, no, it looks like bullshit, literally. But I played it, and every single dungeon I like it more and more, and it was performing very well, so you can be sure this will be healing massive amounts. So don't worry, you see some abundance over here, it will be performing, I assure you. And let's have a look on it. So little tweaks you can do. I choose straight for defenses because I find myself I'm not going to kitty that much, because most of my time I'm spending healing, so I usually just cast ability Starfire and Wrath. So I just force everything to defense, because why? Let's just not play kitty at all. But of course, if you prefer doing that, just go for it. It's still worth it for single target, definitely. But I even find on bosses I didn't have much time to do damage, so I rather just put defensives there and didn't even bother with any form of kitty and doing damage instead. Of course, I'm keeping it up because it's a huge ability to just have it ready. So yeah, if you prefer kitty, go for it. I guess if I get gear, so I'll have a little bit more spare healing and spare time with that, I will switch more to the kitty. But for now, it's here. Other tweaks you can do, it's on the right side. You can sacrifice power of wild growth. It's kind of big deal, but not big deal. If you sacrifice that for Ironbark talents, or you can just click one point there, you can take both of them. This is when you go hierarchies and you just need some extra defensive because you have some squishier class in your team, or rather someone who doesn't have enough defensives. So in that case you can compensate tanky power from aggro and putting it to Ironbark. And the third thing I want to talk about talents is I choose every single crowd control I could, because usually I play with random people and not high key, so I don't expect them to know mechanics, so I always CC everything. But you can take away from Typhoon and put it to more defense here, to more defense here, over here, maybe more range. So you can sacrifice this crowd control if you don't feel like having it. Maybe you're not interrupting in kitty never, so just transfer the talent to something more useful. Or this one is great talent if you are going for damage in kitty, to just save you some time. And the last thing, I also include Innervate. We usually have enough mana, but I was thinking I really enjoyed having Innervate with this build. It's just one extra talent. So if you feel good, don't choose it and just use this point somewhere else. I really enjoyed it because there was phases I use a lot of mana, and why I'm using a lot of mana, because I'm compensating our lack of AoE burst heals, that I'm just throwing every ability that's possible in a short amount of time, and Innervate is great for that, to save you huge amounts of mana. Alright, if you want exactly this talent, the link to import it will be in the description, and let's move our gameplay rotation priorities, whatever you want to call it. So, little note on the start, you don't have set, doesn't matter, it's just making you weaker, it's not changing anything about your gameplay. Other thing is to understand our mastery a little. So our mastery is increasing our healing on specific target by each healing over time effects that target have. So not like you have on 5 targets 5 things and it's increasing to anyone. No, it's just specific target and it's counting how many healing over time effects you have there. So even something that is healing very little have big impact on other abilities, because low heals, low healing over time effects are there to just increase healing from other mechanics. So for example, I have Dawnbreaker, I heal there a lot, and I can have a look, Spring Blossoms, it's 50% overheal still, but it's 9 million, would be maybe 20. It's healing so little and it's taking talent from the last row, what is very important talent. But almost everyone always have this when you need to heal. When I was checking some logs, it was like 70% uptime, and when it was not uptime, you didn't need to heal because probably they were just running between packs. So it's very little hot, it's healing nothing, you can see it's 15,000 over a second, it's nothing. But this healing over time effect is increasing all the other heals. So even we have Cultivation that is healing 24,000 for 6 seconds. But it doesn't matter, because this is improving other heals, and that's what it matters with Druid. So even when some heal is not performing as others, and then you check your healing, ooh, like something is healing very little, like Spring Blossom, but I don't need that talent. It's not about healing from these abilities, it's about they are increasing other heals. So I have 11.4% mastery. That means the little healing over time effect that is doing nothing, basically, is increasing all the heals by 11.4%. And that's what you need to always think when you're playing Resto Druid, that mastery is a huge tool. So don't just check like other healers, this is not doing that much healing, maybe I don't need it. Same as Wild Growth from Trade. It's not doing much overall, you could spread a talent, but it's increasing our heal by 11%. And that's very huge power over there. Alright, let's go finally on priorities. So first of most priorities, we have Life Blooms. We can have only 2, so 2 is maximum. Ideally 1 we are placing on a tank, because he is always getting damage as usual. And the second one I prefer to place on some ranged DPS, because ranged DPS are often not standing on melee, where is our efflorescence, and efflorescence is healing other mechanics, blah blah blah. So usually on melee they have more healing passively by AoEs than somebody who is standing outside of efflorescence. So that's why I prefer it on a ranged DPS. In a case somebody is dying more, or somebody is more squishy, or is always standing in abilities, or have bad gear, so always need to pass heal, sure, put it on him. But ideally 1 tank, 1 ranged DPS. In a case there is some big AoE damage and tank is fine, just don't place it on tank. Place it 2 of them on ranged DPS. Don't place it on yourself, because we are going after extra bloom through photosynthesis, and that only works when it's on somebody else. So on you only if you are the only one, or maybe one of 2 persons that are dying. If there is AoE damage, don't place it on yourself. It was not even worth it before, it was 20%, now it's just 10% when it's on yourself, in case of predicted heals. So it's absolutely not worth it, just don't go for it. But still, its healing is massive. You can also see Life Bloom, it's big pump. So, a little bit more mechanics about Life Bloom. So, Life Bloom is healing over time effect, and then on the end it will bloom, and that like big tick. Even here it's spread into 2, so this is healing over time effect, 161 usual head. I said it wrong, this is the bloom, and average hit is, you can see, 15,000. So even those blooms are usually the bigger part than the whole healing. And when it's bloom happening is that when it's on end of the duration. But with photosynthesis, we have 4% chance the live bloom will bloom with any healing overtime effects on the target with the live bloom. So more we have there, so it's staying in efflorescence, that's another healing overtime effect on the target. It's rejuvenation, it's regrowth, it's wild growth, anything is improving that chance to bloom. And then that bloom is nice healing on its own, sure, but that bloom is also healing through verdancy. And what is verdancy is if live bloom blooms, 3 targets will get healed that are standing inside of verdancy, efflorescence, sorry. So that's a huge mechanic, and it's usually a huge part of your healing, so it's even better than ability on its own. And of course that bloom healings are nice. So there's one thing about live blooms. Another thing is they count as 3 stacks of mastery. So not only 11%, but they count as 33% increase healing. So live bloom on its own is increasing that mastery extra healing quite a lot, as they count as 3 stacks. Every single tick from live bloom have 5% chance. This is increasing, it's 5% chance to give you clear casting. The clear casting is now default talent. We don't have it there, or it's already. So next regrowth is casting 0 mana and is healing 30% more. That is in town over here. And now we can stack also up to 2. So another thing makes live bloom really great. And the last point is when we apply a regrowth. I know next to some dummies, unlucky. When we apply a regrowth, it will spread also on targets that have live bloom. You couldn't see it here, but just believe me. So you have another 2 more hots if you cast it onto a target. So we can see live bloom is massive ability. That's why it's priority 1. That's why we want to always keep it on targets, even when there's not much to heal. Just keep it up, you'll get some clear casting, and always on tank, because as usual tanks are always getting damaged. So let's move to second priority, talk about it a little already, and it's our efflorescence. So it's circle on the ground that is healing. Easy thing we already know. We have spirit blooms on every target, so not only is healing of this ability, but it's also increasing healing of everything by amount of your mastery. Then the other stuff, what is happening is verdancy from the blooms, from live blooms. So we want to keep this ability always under the group. In the case you are always moving, don't place it like every few seconds. They will change places, whole group. Alright, don't go for it. Otherwise keep replacing when the group moves. And its position is ideally under melee, so tank is standing in it, melee are standing in it, and you usually stand in it because you place it down, you know where it is, and you care about your healing. And if ranged not standing in it, it's not your fault. They don't want to get more healing from you. So whatever, but melee cannot go on range and still do damage, but the ranged damage can go on melee and still do damage. That's why we're placing it on damage, well, damage on melee. What am I even saying? So these 2 abilities we always want to have prepared. Even when there is nothing to heal right now, there are definitely some damage taken in the group a few seconds later, because that's what Blizzard likes, to always get damage, so healers need to always heal. So yeah, have this always prepared, and let's move on when we actually start getting damage to the group. Of course these 2 have prepared, so they are healing already. So it's priority 3 and is our Groove Guardian. And guess what? We are playing our Keeper of the Groove. So guess what? The trees are huge, because this hero talent is about the trees. So what is our Groove Guardian? Is our little trees, our friend. He will spawn, he will cast 1 Swiftment, and then he will spawning Nourishes. Third thing what he's doing with this hero talents, he also every 6 seconds he will cast Moonfire. So extra damage for you, he will do it. You don't need to bother yourself by casting Moonfires. They are absolutely amazing because they have a short cooldown, only 20 seconds, stack up to 3, so you can place them at the same time. Very cheap on mana, and not costing you global cooldown, so you're not wasting any time by using them. That's why they are so great, but there is still so many mechanics. So you can target on target, but they always find some best target to heal. They are not over healing, so I'm just always clicking it, not targeting anyone, and they're completely fine. They're healing effectively, and I never needed to change something like that. Another thing I forgot to mention, they also apply wild growth when they spawn. And why is that important? Because it's not healing much, but it's increasing mastery heals of everything else. So another thing why that wild growth is huge, even that is not healing that much. So let me spit another mechanics about this. There's a lot of things happening with the trees. When you use them, you will spawn 3 petals. Well, you don't spawn, you have buff up to 3 stacks. So when you use 3, bam, I have buff, and after I use some heal ability, targeted heal ability, they will spawn little flowers over here and they will just heal a nearby ally. Don't worry, not healing closest target, they're just healing. Also, need to be close target but not closest. That's the best way how to say it, so don't worry, they don't need to be standing next to it. So this is another part, how trees are improving your heals. Then, after you have 3, for any tree that is existing right now, unlimited stacks. But I think maximum you have like 6 at the same time. It's not possible to have more. I think 6 is max. I'm not sure, maybe 5. Doesn't matter. Every existing trees is improving all your healing done by 5%. And all the existing tree is increasing healing of rejuvenation, efflorescence, and life by under 10%. So let's say you save 3 stacks, you click it at the same time, bam, 30% here, 15% all healing, and then 33% because 3 wild growth, because you use it on some time. So a huge amount of healing, huge amount of mechanics about these boys. So usually when you're just fighting casual packs or something, or maybe lower keys, whatever, just keep clicking it, don't keep 3 stacks sitting there, let at least use 1 and keep 2 stacks. So it's a recharging that cooldown, because this is a reliability you want to use a lot, as it's so cheap and so good. So anytime there is some damage, release at least 1 tree, do not sit on 3 stacks. If there is some pegs, some boss mechanics, anything that is doing burst AoE damage, you can keep those stacks ready there. And then you are preparing for that healing, then you release those trees, and they will massive increase your healing, and they will also heal on its own. And some damage too. So yeah, keep them coming, to not sit on whole stacks, and keep multiple stacks when there is some burst phases. Let's move on. There is a lot of mechanics. These hero talents are insane, because there is like 5 more synergies than before. But we can handle it. Let's go to Swiftment as a 4th priority. So what is Swiftment? It's a strong single target fast heal. I don't even have it on bars. So it's quite decent heal, but it's really cheap. It's instant, what we really like on Druid. And by default you can see consumes a regular wild growth or rejuvenation. It is no longer can do that, but you need to use it on targets that have one of these 3 healing over time effects. So it cannot be just used on me because I have nothing. If I have rejuvenation, then I can use Swiftment and heal myself with it. So you need to be there. It's no longer consuming because we have talent over here. So instead of consuming, he's extending duration of healing over time effect by 8 seconds. That is quite huge because it's saving you time and saving you mana. What more, after we use it, we are getting Soul of the Forest buff. So it's improving next regrowth and rejuvenation by 150% or wild growth by 50%. So that's another massive increase of our healing from Swiftment. And there is a 3rd mechanic with it. We have a reforestation, so every 4 casts of Swiftment was 3 before patch, now it's 4, because we are also reducing its cooldown. We have 3 of life for 10 seconds. And that's great buff, because 3 of life is increasing all healing and improving our abilities, so you want to use it really on a cooldown. And the last thing about it, it reduces its cooldown up to 40% the less health target healed by Swiftment have. So this is something you want to use on cooldown. It's not even consuming anything, it's cheap, increasing all your healing, giving you buffs. Just amazing, beautiful ability, and it's also increasing all your healing by 8% with our 4 piece for 6 seconds, so also nice addition. Still one extra thing about trees is that if you have Incarnation Tree of Life, even from reforestation, this is 10 seconds, every 10 seconds it spawns 1 tree. So this is another trees you will be getting, and every tree that will perish, and its duration, will also decrease cooldown for your Incarnation Tree of Life. So that's also nice synergy with this mechanics here with your cooldown, with your best form. Alright, moving on 5th priority, and is Wild Growth. What is Wild Growth? Is our AoE ability, our only AoE ability. Okay, yeah, Efflorescence too. So when we need to heal AoE, that's when we use Wild Growth, otherwise we are skipping to next priorities. So it's classing healing over time effects on 5 targets. Choose somebody who's standing in middle of group because it will be healing other targets around it. Well, it will choose other targets around it. And it's healing more on the start, and it's fading out during duration. You can see numbers are getting lower. That means don't prepare it before AoE damage happens, just cast it on the start of AoE damage, because once again it's best healing on the start of its cast. And ideally, if some AoE damage is coming, empower it by Soul of the Forest for 50% increased healing. That's all Wild Growth. Finally, some simple ability that don't have many things around it. So I enjoyed it by that. Alright, moving on, 6th priority is Regrowth, and I will say also 7th priority is Rejuvenation, because they will kind of work together, and sometimes you want to use one before other. So let's start talking about Regrowth, because there is million mechanics again, because that's how the game is now. Everybody need to read 15 books around their class so they can play the game. So let's keep talking about Regrowth. So Regrowth, it's our big pump. Oh, I shouldn't hit more damage because this will disappear. Regrowth is our big source of healing. Doesn't mean we don't want Life Bloom and everything, because once again it's improving our Regrowth through mastery. But also Regrowth is costing a lot of mana, so we want to have some little healing. Most of the time you just have Life Blooms, Efflorescence, and it's taking care of more healing. So it's not about using always the best ability for every occasion. So that's why it's 6th priority, but it's really important because that's our big and fast source of healing. You can see biggest critical hit, 7.6 million. So you can really judge this ability. Alright, so what is Regrowth? Is a big heal on initial cast, and then some healing over time effects. So even that big initial heal is almost better than the Rejuvenation. So it's winning, but we want those Rejuvenation to empower it. More about it later. Alright, so a little bit easier mechanics about Regrowth is that it's spreading on targets with Life Bloom. We know that. If already there is target with Regrowth healing over time effects, if you cast another Regrowth, that initial hit have 40% increased critical chance from taunt over here. Also, we remember our clear casting that is costing no mana, and Regrowth is healing 30% more, so 5% from every tick of Life Blooms. That's why I keep these Life Blooms, so this is prepared and ready, waiting for us. This hot. Well, hot, there's buff for us. So, and the big thing about this is we choose Abundance for this build. Cenarium Ward is also great, but this is greatest because Cenarium Ward is not healing AoE. Also not Regrowth, but through this it will be huge AoE too. So Abundance, for each Rejuvenation what is applied right now, is increasing critical chance of Regrowth by 8% and is reducing mana cost of Regrowth by 8%. Both of them are huge, and we have new talent also, that every stack of Abundance is decreasing cast time of Regrowth. As we cannot use double Rejuvenation because we don't use the talent, and there is only 5 players, we can have only 5 stacks maximum, which is still fine, because that is 40% critical, 40% cheaper, and 25% increase cast speed. So then we are going to tough situation, big burst AoE, even burst single target, or like Green Battle on ads before last boss, they are just sucking somebody and you don't know who that will be. Then you start preparing all the effects, kinda you don't have time for it sometimes, so you just prepare Rejuvenation on everyone. Of course you have Life Bloom, Efflorescence, etc. You prepare, and then you have 5 stacks, and you just spam this Regrowth to the single target, and you will be pumping massive amount of healing. So with 5 stacks of Abundance, this 40% critical, this talent, it's another 40% critical, And even if you have 0 critical chance, you have 5% critical chance. So it's at least 85% critical chance for regrowth. So it's hard to see here because it's also counting as healing over time effects, so you don't see only this initial heal, because that critical hits is only for initial healing, so not healing over time effect. But that healing initial is the biggest part of the regrowth. So massive pump, and even when you're going for AoE, you also have prepared all these light blooms, efflorescence, 5 stacks of rejuvenation, and then you have improved the regrowth and you're just spamming it massively for a few millions ahead, and that's, I think, our greatest choice how to do our AoE healing. But regrowth is still good, even without this rejuvenation. If you need to save somebody's life, he was not prepared and somebody's already low, he's close to be dead, yeah, save him with this regrowth cast. Whatever, we need to save him. We are not thinking about to heal effectively. Or also just through regrowth here and there, because you will have clear casting that is making it free even more effective. So you have 2 life blooms, just place it on third guy, almost everybody is full, but you will apply 3 healing over time effects that will be waiting for more healings, improving other heals, blah 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 blah. So when you have clear casting or somebody is really low already, you can just let it out without any rejuvenations that will be buffing it massively. And with that, we have rejuvenation in next priority. I put it lower because when you need to heal right now, regrowth is priority. But when you are preparing for healing, then rejuvenation is priority, because regrowth is something you want to use and you actually need to heal right now, not prepare for the healing. But yeah, rejuvenation best use is when there is some burst coming, burst AoE idly, then you start spraying rejuvenation to your whole group for that abundance, but even for its own healing, and even it's increasing other heals by mastery, as every heal over time effects we have. Also, these 2 abilities are improved by Tree of Life form, but I will just talk about it in cooldowns section, so let's just move on. I will summarize on the end, but there is one last priority on the end, and I put it for healing priorities because what we need our mana. So as to cast our Wrath, Starfire, or use our KT abilities with 5 combo points to regenerate mana. Because playing this will cost us more mana than some usual methods, because applying rejuvenations on everyone and then spamming regrowths even when it's cheaper 40%, it's costing a lot. So we will be spending a lot of mana, and that's why we need to get that mana back. So when there is not much to heal right now, you are casting these abilities and you are sucking mana back. There was the Dawnbreaker where I healed quite a lot, and where is mana restored. So it's 7,600,000 mana. So yeah, this is quite massive amount of mana you will get through that talent, and that will keep you from not drinking every 5 seconds or every combat. So important, even nothing to heal. This is also part of our healing rotation, because it's not only damage, it's increasing our heals, because we cannot cast heals when we don't have mana. Alright, we talk about every ability in details, so it's quite hard to grasp like our priorities or our gameplay, so let's make summary. So this build is about, well, you are applying basic healing over time effects, what we've been doing for years. So these light blooms, efflorescence, we just putting there because that's how we always healed, and they are effectively on mana, blah blah blah. But all about as what we got extra now is that abundance. So before harder phases we are spraying those rejuvenation, and they are destroying our mana with regrowths, but we are healing in massive numbers because these regrowths are pumping a lot. As you can see, they're vastly superior percentage of my heal. And then we are getting back mana through casting Wrath, Starfire, or those KT abilities. So, summary, completely summary. Light blooms, tank, some other range and DPS usually. All the time, keep it up. Efflorescence, under group, on the melee. Third priority, we have our trees. Massive amount of mechanics around it, improving everything. They are healing on its own. Look at them. This is just their one spell. They have other spells abilities they are doing. So we are releasing trees. Fourth priorities is our swiftment. I was on cooldown because we are not losing anything, it's just improving very cheap. Then we are casting our wild growth if AoE heal is required. Then we have our regrowth and rejuvenation, so depend on how much AoE damage will be needed. If only few regrowths will be needed, don't prepare rejuvenation. If more, prepare those rejuvenation. And also you can use this rejuvenation just when you are running or some little spot heal. And on the very last, it's our damage, because we want mana back. So we are just casting. I think nice summary part would be also good to say how to prepare for some nice bursts. So let's say burst is coming, so what we want to have prepared. We have 2 life blooms, I have efflorescence under the group, I have crit casting so I can apply regrowth what is already on the targets, I will apply our rejuvenations, and then I will use swiftment, I will cast wild growth just when AoE hits, and then we are just spamming bam. Just instant regrowths, and that is our pump. Of course, 22 million health per second, this is always showing something bad, so don't mind this number, but this is basically how we are preparing for the burst. So prepare healing our time effects also is increasing to our mastery, and then we are ready to spam this improved and cheaper regrowths. Bam, 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 bam. Best hit, 1.7 millions. Not that huge, but I didn't use any swiftments or any nature swiftness that would even improve this. And I also forgot to use trees. So that's one addition. When I was doing all the thing, you can keep applying the trees because they will be already increasing your mastery, already increasing everything. And wild growth, and you blasting in your bigger heads. So this is our burst. This is what is this all about, to compensate for our lack of AoE. Of course, we could have also that convoke, but I don't like LNG abilities, so that's why I prefer this build. And yet, convoke have also minute cooldown, so this one is ready more often. Yeah, so I just love this build. I love it so much. I hated it from start. First 1 or 2 dungeons I hated it, then I absolutely loved it. So this is basic what we are doing. I will finish last puzzle with our gameplay with the cooldowns. So let's go for it. We don't have many cooldowns. It's just our incarnate and nature swiftness. Okay, I forgot about innervate, the third one, but everybody knows how innervate works. You click it, you don't spend your mana. So when you heal a lot, click it, you save mana. That's all. Not much there to be said. Nature swiftness is making your regrowth instant and heal 100% more, and it's not costing mana. Also working for trees or combat rest, but we don't care about that. We care about regrowth, and it's 100% healing increase. Instant cast is also nice. Why is this 100% huge? Because you can have 150% from Soul of the Forest too. And it's not counting like 250% together. It will be multiplied by 1% and then from another. So the final number, it can be something huge, as I had the biggest critical hit, it was 7.5 million. Maybe it was more, but this is how much it healed. So there could be a few millions more that was overheal. I think best hit I did 11 millions I did with initial heal of regrowth. That is on paper 365,000. So potential is massive. So for big heal, you use swiftment, you get buff 150%, and then you click nature swiftness, that's another 100%. Another is not counting together, is multiplicative. And then you smash the other regrowth, and this is 1 million, 1.5 million, not even critical. And there is not healing over time effects on the targets because there was nothing, no life bloom, no mastery, no improvement of your heals, no trees outside. So you can really pump this heal to the heaven. So yeah, nature swiftness to the burst, or to just really save someone's life really fast. And you can combine it with swiftment, that's Soul of the Forest, for nice, juicy, single target heal. And then we have our second cooldown. Alright, third one, innervate. It's our Tree of Life. So we have Tree of Life from this incarnation, that is for 30 seconds, and we are getting also after 4 swiftments, that's for 10 seconds. So we already know every 10 seconds we are spawning new tree, and every tree that will just finish their duration will reduce cooldown of incarnation by 5 seconds. What else is this form doing? Is increasing all your healing by 10%, also increasing your armor by 120, I think. So when there is some physical damage to the group, you will survive better. But usually it's magic damage in dungeons. So see, every 10 seconds I have new tree. And it's also improving abilities. You can see they are shiny. Wild growth, we don't care. It's healing more targets. In dungeon, we don't need more targets because it's just 5 of us. But what we really care about, rejuvenation is healing 40% more, costing 30% less mana. So great. And regrowths are instants. So ideally, before AoE big burst damage will come, you go to Tree of Life, you apply this nice, juicy, cheaper rejuvenations, and then you are ready to spam instant regrowths through the tree. And we have also bonus to Wrath. It's 20% more damage and it's instant. And Wrath is doing what? Is regenerating your mana. So when you don't need to heal, but you have Tree of Life up, then you just keep spamming instant Wraths to just nice juice your mana back, because we will need your mana back when we are playing this build. On the end, little about damage. We are casting Wraths, we are casting Starfires. Our trees are casting Moonfires. In case you don't want to use 3 and a single target, definitely cast Moonfire, or 2 targets, 3 targets, still worth it. But usually trees will take care of it. And that's it. That's completely it. In the case you're playing Kitty, we're applying Rake on the targets to make it bleed. If it's already a single target, that is best to use Kitty. Then if you have Rake there, you also apply Shred to generate combo points, and when you have 5, you apply Rip to keep it bleeding. You also regenerate your mana. If Rip is applied, then move on Ferocious Bite. But let's not make it complicated, just cast those abilities. So anyway, this will be everything from me. If you want exactly the same guide in a text, just check my Discord. When I'm recording these videos, I'm following my guides, I'm writing guide in a text first. And thank you for watching, think about liking and subscribing, it's helping me a lot, and goodbye.